Welcome back to episode 5 of the Admin Podcast.
Hey, you got it right this time.
I didn't change the number this time.
Episode 55?
Today we are joined by a true living legend.
And star.
His
Come on.
lip singing. He was so famous before he even came on our podcast, which we will cut to that video and many videos that we have of Jim lip singing over the years.
Seeing that this week is about video content, we had to open it
Who
up
could we find better?
with our video star and lip sync star,
Wow.
Jimmy on the spot, Tannehill,
Jimmy on the spot.
Also known to some as Daniel.
or Danielson.
Yeah, well, it's a true honor to be here. I feel like I'm amongst living legends as well. Try not to let the fame get to my head.
It's not working.
It's not. I have a, yeah.
You have a what?
I don't know.
Why do you finish what you're going to say
You
there?
know?
Just finish it.
Yeah, I'm not.
He has a problem finishing. Wow. All right, so this week's topic is video content. And wanted to spend a few minutes talking about how important it is and also what type of video content to do. So, maybe anybody jump in here, but I wanted to kind of back up all the way to, I call it the evolution of video content on social media. So, Jim, you're a rising star on social media and video. That was one of your first video debuts. And what was your inspiration behind that video?
I really like Taylor Swift. The song really spoke to me while I was driving to a job site, probably. And, she was talking about problems. We think we can solve them. And it really just spoke to me at that point in my life. So it inspired me. I wish I would have known what TikTok or Vine or any of those things were at that time, because I probably would have made a fool of myself and could have made some money that way. But
Here we
live and learn.
are, all working normal jobs.
Right.
Thanks, Jim.
Also, does this mic make me look fat? I feel like it has 10 pounds, like kind of like the camera.
That's 30.
Man,
Yes, it does. But maybe Nick, you can jump in there from the media side of it. Even 2 or 3 years ago, how has the video game evolved? What did it used to be? 2 or 3 years ago, what was the video content like?
Yeah, I feel like people eventually jumped from photos to more or less having slideshows, and then we went through an evolution where it really jumped to video content. People were able to trust it a little bit more. It suddenly turned from even being more Hollywood to even being more personal, which is a big switch that I saw. Was when it's funny because people think about video content like you need to have professionals doing it, you need to have red cameras, you need to have a director, you need to have people that are all handling these different positions. But then you look at people like a Gary Vaynerchuk, or people that are able to have people follow them with just small DSLRs, and they're able to have a wider audience than people are even catching on TV. It's because people love the personal side that they're able to relate to and able to trust organic video content that isn't completely edited, isn't all Hollywood, isn't all blown out of proportion like a lot of big productions are. They're able to trust and be more one-on-one. And along with that is they're able to just follow the people that they care about.
Well, and let's talk about even deeper, because I think you're hitting on it, but how's the consumption changed? Because I think how people are consuming it, their media now, is completely different, which is I think why we've seen a lot of that evolution part of social media and video content playing a lot more. So 2 or 3 years ago, how were people consuming video content?
yeah. So I think YouTube would have been the biggest way people were watching videos then, and getting the ads and things like that. But it's definitely changed, and in my opinion, with the Instagram stories, Snapchat, TikTok, even Facebook stories now, I feel like it humanizes everybody, and you don't see the persona, the aura that people put on. I mean, obviously there's different filters, things like that, but it's literally looking at their lives without a filter. How you would see them.
Are you a filter man? When
no,
you do your selfies?
hashtag no filter, team no filter. This is all natural.
No, but I think you're right. And if you look back at just how we are able, okay, maybe it's farther than 2 or 3 years. Go 5, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Facebook was just starting. And I don't even know if you could put video content on Facebook right away. But so the consumption was different. So a lot of the video, I feel, content that was put out for you to consume on the TV, which was very professional, super high dollar. And so that's all you really saw. But then kind of as we saw stuff progress and information now gets consumed at a different way, everything, all media has just totally advanced so much more.
Yeah, I think that people want that personal relationship more than ever. I think that video is able to provide the actual person that they care about. So I think Gary Vaynerchuk gave the greatest, for instance, of that is when he explained that if 10 years ago you were watching the Super Bowl and you were drinking a Bud Light and you completely hated the taste and you hopped on Twitter and you said, man, this Bud Light's complete trash. And then 2 minutes later, somebody knocked on your door and it was a Bud Light person that handed you a Bud Light Lime, you would be completely thrown off. You'd be like, dude, get out of here. Like, what are you even doing? You want to punch them in the face. Versus now, people want that personal interaction with a brand, whether big or small, which is why a lot of your Wendy's that has like a completely funny Twitter that actually engages with their actual audience personally, like people want that. And it's because it went from an evolution of just TV where people that were putting out content weren't engaging with their audience at all to social actually creating a ability to interact with that actual consumer or people that actually cared about people that they wanted to follow.
Yeah, agreed. And I think it's just so much more is consumed. I mean, the amount of videos we watch now every day compared to even 5 years ago is drastically different and so much more relevant. And obviously it's even more so now as TikTok, you know, or used to be Musical.ly, is coming into the game and really taking over, and the stories, Facebook, Instagram, all of them. But that video content has just really taken over. And so I wanted to spend a minute and dive into, and anybody could really jump in here, but talking about what is important, you know, to have on your video. What's important to know when you're making a video or doing a video? Because like we said, the game's completely changed even from 5 years ago or 2 years ago, because the way you can capture video, the way you can produce video now, but even before that, what's just important to have in your video, basically?
Yeah, I think there's so many, for instances of somebody like Psy who came up with the song Gangnam Style, somebody that only had in a sense like one hit that people really know about. If you could really go into forward thinking about content that you're putting out is something to maybe retain that audience, that way you do have some really good original content. Well, think about that in the sense that what is going to make these people want to stay? What value can I actually provide them? Whether it be something that's personal, that people can relate with you on a personal level, whether it be some business advice that people are really going to feel that they integrate with and that they can able to use and they want to come back for more of that. Just something that's actually going to retain your audience. That way they want to keep coming back for more. They're willing to subscribe. They're willing to follow you. Something that keeps them there.
Yeah, I really like what you said, value portion of it. I mean, there's people that we follow because they're hilarious and they brighten your day. There's people that you follow strictly for information. There's people that you follow for different reasons. And if you can find a way to add value to someone's life, they're going to remember you. They're going to follow you. They're going to be interested in you. So I do like that aspect. That word you use, value, is huge to me when I'm consuming video and things like that.
And Kyle, we've worked with a lot of clients who maybe haven't done video content before at agency, and we get a lot of questions of, you know, what to do during the video, or what are some of those things that, you know, yeah, that's really good. We want to provide value. We want to do that. But what's even maybe more practical that's important to know to have during that video, you know, that you need?
I mean, personalization, what's unique to you, stuff like that is really good to focus on. What do you know that you can bring to the table? What's, you know, your relationship, your family, what's different, what differentiates you from...
So knowing the message that you're really trying to get across. Okay.
So really, what are you trying to make them feel is the most important part.
And I think there's a couple, you know, other things as well. You know, I think of just the practical things that you want to think of when, you know, if we have somebody that says, okay, I agree, video content's important, it's relevant, everybody knows that because you're consuming it, you kind of know that you have to do it. But there's some key things, Nick, that I think really play into making a good video. That on the real practical side of it, when a video is coming together, you need to have like certain things right. You need to have the audio. Talk to us about audio a little bit that needs to happen, because there's nothing more annoying than your audio being off on a video. Nobody can stand that when the lips are off or whatever it is. Audio is so important.
Yeah, I feel like people just forget that like audio is 70% of your video.
Yeah.
And that's funny because it also went from, there's also like a weird change with that, because it's really going to depend on what platform you're putting it on, because audio on TikTok is not going to perform the way that audio on Instagram will, because you need to also think about there's a mindset that people are also consuming this video content while they're at work. Like, they don't want their volume up, they don't have headphones in, they will need words on the screen in order to watch what they're actually consuming.
So, I saw a quote today that said, I don't know if this is true or not, but it said, I think 70 or 80% of people, when they're on their phones in their bathroom, they're watching videos silently.
Exactly.
I think that's true.
1,000% I'm going to say that it's true now.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
I've liked a lot of your videos while in the restroom, so.
We have true,
But you can't go back and find my likes, so.
RIP.
No, but I think you're right. I think it's really important to know what platform you're directing this video to, because it matters.
Yeah, and that's because we went through a change where it wasn't just people putting out video content for, like, I don't even know if video content was allowed on MySpace, but video content for YouTube, and then we shifted to Facebook, and then we had Instagram. But then along with that, now there's suddenly, how is video content performing on LinkedIn? How is it performing on Snapchat? How is it performing on TikTok? Like, a prime example that I use a ton, because it's somebody that I follow a ton, is Gary Vaynerchuk, but his team literally, they take a big piece of content that Gary will have 40-minute, and they'll break it down, and then they'll have 15 videos that do well on Twitter. They'll have 10 that do well on Snapchat. They'll have 15 that do well on TikTok. They're able to break down what's going to perform better, and they're testing that as they go. And that's crazy because, so I downloaded TikTok probably 2 weeks ago, something that I've never done. But so when I had Facebook, it was 1,700 friends that I had. I put a video out, whether it be of something of me and my son, something from the business, and I'd maybe get 300 or 400 views. I started a TikTok, put out videos within the first hour of me having it, and got 600 views within 4 hours.
Right.
The organic reach is there.
Yeah.
So people are, if you also want to try something new, hop on a new platform, because you're also going to retain those new followers. Maybe you're not going to make a ton of money off of it, but don't even think about it in that aspect. Like, how are you going to provide value to that audience? You're going to retain followers and just grow it.
So that's great. So I really want to get practical too. So that's a lot of information and a lot of real information that we deal with every day. What media goes on what platform. But I feel like a lot of people out there are just like, I want to do my first video, and trying to break that barrier. So let's get practical and talk about the setup. What do you need to do the video? What's the best case scenario? If you're a business owner, you don't have a ton of stuff going on in social media, but you want to break that barrier into the video realm. What are some quick tips of what equipment do you need? What setup do you need? What do you need to know to be able to put one out there and hopefully gain some traction on it?
Yeah, so I think that if you can think with the mindset of how can I take my website or my personal bio about me and wrap that up into a video, that's something that people are initially going to be able to find something that they like about you, find something that they like about your company. That's information that will do very well through a video. Setup wise, I mean, these days it's really easy. Like, if you really have an iPhone 5 or 6 or newer, like, you're going to be able to do that. Grab a tripod, flip your phone sideways, don't do it in portrait. The audio there really isn't half bad, but if it was, you can always grab a $20 lapel mic on Amazon and run that to your actual person. Lighting wise, do it outside, find a really bright room in your house. Like, if you have lighting ability, you can pick up some on Amazon for probably $30. Like, it's really easy to create that setting. Like, for instance, if I even look at the setup we have here, like, it probably, between that light, those tripods, exclude the cameras, but count these mics, like, we're probably only at $300 or $400. Like, it really isn't that expensive to create a setup. It's going to be able to help you produce content. And that's funny because people sometimes don't even want to spend on this setup, but literally all it takes is a podcast as new as ours, our 5th episode, maybe having 60 views our 5th week, not even. All it takes is one person reaching out that needs something done, and it pays itself off over tenfold. Like, it's not, as long as you're able to connect with that end consumer, like, as long as you're able to provide that value, you don't know how it's going to portray back to exactly what your goal is in mind. Simple phone, simple tripod, stuff you can find at Best Buy. You can find a lavalier mic at Best Buy. Just make sure you don't record video this way. Turn it horizontal.
Or, unless depending on your platform.
That's true.
Right?
TikTok is 100% portrait action.
It's all portrait.
And
right?
people are getting more and more used to shaky, bad footage anyway. Like, as long as they can hear you, that's the best. That's the biggest thing, is the audio. But if you hold your phone up, take your first video,
I think that's something that probably somebody that's just getting into will overlook is audio. And I think audio is probably the most important part of your video. I know, I mean, when we put a video together, usually, I mean, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, usually we spend, probably twice as much time finding the right track that suits exactly the exact message, the exact client that you have, and making sure that it's right.
Let me give a for instance take. Was it last year's video that we did for County Line Orchard?
Yeah.
I'd spent 6 hours trying to find a track. I texted John, let him know that I was trying to find a track, and he sent me the first track that he had found, and it fit perfectly. So sometimes, like,
that was an anomaly.
Sometimes we will spend 12 to 14 hours trying to find the right track for a video. Like, and even with your audio, most times we spend more time trying to fix audio that we have versus just taking the time to do it right and pay attention to it while we're actually shooting the content.
Yeah.
And something that you can't forget is you get, I guess, a pro tip in a sense is you're 6 weeks into this, is you're 6 months into this, record your video and record your audio with editing in mind.
Yeah.
If you can do that, you're literally going to save yourself so much time. If I take a wedding that I've done, a house that I've done, that forward thinking that how am I going to edit this content that I'm recording right now saves me hours and hours and hours in the editing bay.
Yep. And I think it's as simple as, I mean, if you have a MacBook computer, an Apple computer, it comes with iMovie already. And you could do 99% of what you need to do and effectively and look professional in iMovie. And if you don't have Apple, I'm sorry. Hopefully you switch soon. No, I don't know.
You need a raise or something.
Is it Windows Movie Maker still around? That was the last thing I used.
You can even do that on your phone too. You
Yeah.
don't have to use
Right.
a laptop. So
Yeah.
it's that much easier.
And nowadays, even the apps that you're posting on have so much
Yep.
more editing capability. I didn't even know until I just recently uploaded a video to YouTube that you can edit and trim stuff and right on YouTube's platform as well. So that's some good practical stuff. So you can use your phone, spend the time, make sure your audio is right, and lighting. Have some bright lights, and don't overthink it. Understand the message, understand your client. And so I want to dive into a minute on that. So now we talked about the setup. Now let's talk about the actual message. So we're not, okay, now we have someone who wants to do a video. They're ready to make the leap, but what do I do it on? What are some practical ideas that we can give? There's a million different style videos. There's 100 different options you can do. What are some quick ones that people could kind of focus on and pump out a couple videos right away that would be relevant to their audience, clients, or customers?
I mean, first one's obviously your intro. This is who I am. This is what I do. In case you didn't know, I'm starting to make videos now. That's it.
Yeah.
I think along with that is there's a ton of different options once you actually get to a quote-unquote content breakdown versus whether it be an about you video versus what services or what you help people solve or what actual services you provide to your client. And if you have people that are willing to, maybe you have a client testimonial. Maybe you own a car shop and you just did Karen's brakes and you gave Karen a great price on it and she knows that. And you can even go along into that, like maybe your brake to do brakes on the front of a car is $280, but maybe you tell her like, hey, like, can I charge you $240 and you do a video for us that we can put out on social media? Because as we change now into doing more video and as Facebook performs, maybe it's a little less value on the written aspect of things because anybody can almost fake a written review.
Yeah.
That value of having a client on video that's saying like, hey, Mike did my brakes, he did an absolutely amazing job, charged me a fair price, I'm super happy with the product, this is something you should come check out. Like maybe even a client testimonial work for you. Maybe showing your facility. Like I think of some places that I've been, like a few years ago I somehow ended up in an RV center and I took a tour of how RVs were made and it was absolutely fascinating. But maybe it's something that to you might be completely boring in your normal life, but to other people it's something that they literally have never seen. Like you look at shows like How It's Made that was on Netflix, like right. People are actually interested about how gummy bears are made, something that you would think nobody would even
Jim,
care about.
Jim, did you watch that?
I did not. I'll have to find that. That's
You
very
didn't know about it, did you?
No, I did not.
You're going to be up all night. But you look at that stuff that in your head, like even me and my mindset of creating video content, like it's stuff that I think people wouldn't care about, people actually do. You can't be afraid to show something maybe you think it's boring, share it. You don't know how far it's going to go.
Yeah. And so like you can take your phone or something simple like that, just make a highlight reel of your day to day. You know, if you work at a factory like that, let's show from step 1 to step 100. Somebody will think that's cool, and just take clips on your phone, throw them together, and then you got a video.
Yeah, it's always real interesting to see a process of how something's done, especially when you have no knowledge or something in the field. It's people like seeing how you get from point A to Z, but so much we just show you point Z, the success or the finished product, and people are like, well, we can't appreciate it if we don't know how you got there.
And people even like seeing the mistakes in the middle of the process and how you figured that out. That's a lot that we do with the construction side.
Yeah, so talk about that. Like, Jim, you just started one, and you've done some in the past as well. But maybe talk about that style and what the purpose is and what kind of goes on in that vlog style that you've been doing.
Yeah, so a lot of it's just being open and transparent. Understand that mistakes happen, and that's part of the reason why we're in business. I mean, it's construction. Timelines are pushed. Things get messed up, but
Jim's a project manager for a commercial construction company. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I even said that.
Project manager.
He's a special guy.
But at the end of the day, I mean, if you are able to, show, hey, we encountered this problem, it humanizes you. It shows, hey, this company isn't perfect. This guy isn't perfect, but hey, this is how we fixed it. This is our thought process. This is how we got it done. And people enjoy seeing that. They, if you only show people your highs, they're not really going to pay attention. If you only show them your lows, they're not going to pay attention. But if you kind of show them the up and downs, I mean, that's part of the reason why personal vlogs or with famous people, why that's so huge, is because you get to see what they're doing on a daily basis, and it's not always going to be perfect. And that's kind of, my thinking when I do a video walkthrough, when we're working on a Smoothie King right now. There's, a couple mistakes that we made, ask some questions. Okay, this is what happened. This is how we fixed it. And that's what people like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think of a lot of the videos that have even gone viral. I think I hit it before, but like, don't be afraid to show those mistakes. Like, it's funny, but if I think back to my old Facebook,
1.0 or 2.0?
I don't even know.
If you don't know, Nick lost all of his social medias this past week.
5 days ago.
Totally gone.
If you have them, please return them.
Wait,
Wanted.
this week?
Kyle doesn't pay attention.
I don't
Kyle
pay attention.
does not follow me.
Guys, he's been on TikTok.
For 2 years,
okay?
and said shit. So if we look back at one of the posts versus on my first or second Facebook that did really, really well, it was that I stapled Jim in the arm with a stapler. Something that most people, I think in my mind, wouldn't even care about or want to see, but it was like over 200 likes. Like,
yeah.
People care about the things that you might not even think about, like versus you having a bad day, versus you dropping something and breaking it. Like, if you're carrying an $800 iPad and you drop it and shatter it, why don't you show that? And like, it might add some value to the fact that you just lost however much versus a monetary value.
Well, they probably couldn't do that if it was broken, though.
But okay, well,
Good point.
Let's get practical.
Don't drop your iPads, folks.
Oh.
Yeah, we do not recommend that.
So that's good. We covered a couple topics, that people have the ability to do in their videos. In your first video or second video, you're just running out of ideas. We covered kind of the vlog style, that Jim does on a construction company. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a construction company. It can be whatever your business is, whatever your line of work is. That is boring to you maybe because you do it every day, but somebody doesn't, and somebody has no idea how a 6-inch demising wall is framed and what goes into a fire rating and 2 layers of drywalls. That's really intriguing to some people. Kyle is really interested right now because he doesn't know about that.
Yeah.
I can tell. But so we talked about the vlog style, no matter what your business is. We talked about testimonials being a very good one and being more and more relevant even now. We talked about some walkthroughs. Another one that I could think of is, maybe on the vlog style, but behind the scenes. If you make something, whatever your product is or whatever your business line of work is, show the behind the scenes, show the ugly, show what's really difficult. Because, I think the fear used to be that I can't show everything or else somebody's going to replicate what I do. And I think what a lot of us have to understand is probably not too many people want to do what you do because that's not who they are and they're not gifted at it. And the more you show this is a really difficult problem I ran into today. Most people are going to look at that and be like, man, I'm glad that's not my job, because it's not what they do. It's not what they know. And the more you can show that, the more people are going to have respect and trust, that are going to gain from just you putting that out there.
Yeah, and then your clients can see that, like, if that is a problem, that you're showing how you solved it or whatever. It shows how much you care and how you can solve problems. You deal with it.
Yeah. So we only got a minute or two. Let's spend a minute or two on the future of video. We don't really know what it is, right? But what are looking at the trends, where can we see the future of video going? It's come so far in the last several years. What does the future of video look like?
Well,
Crazy. I mean, I think if you look at real estate, I think the VR will eventually be super, super huge in the aspect that you have a newly married couple or a new couple that wants to buy a house together, but they don't want to spend 4 hours driving to 14 different showings. The aspect to put on a headset and be able to look through a house is super, super interesting for listings for sure. And if I look at a side that I already see that is existing and trending is with new construction. I was recently in, I think, Fort Lauderdale, and I have a friend that runs they're building a 28-story building there, and they are going through the finishes versus they're not even done with the core of the building. They're not even done with the glass, but they have their tenants that are walking this building with a virtual headset on. There's somebody with a cart behind them that is following them, making sure wires are connected, and they're looking at the carpet choices, they're looking at the wall dimensions, they're looking at what the windows and the lighting is going to look like, where they maybe should put their desk. Like, it is super interesting to see the animation side that comes with inputting your exact dimensions from your architect and being able to see exactly where your walls are,
right,
and that you do want to move the toilet to the other side of the wall, that you do not want that wallpaper because looking down this hallway, it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
That's super interesting in the VR realm between real estate and commercial construction. So closing this out, it's episode 5 of the Admin Podcast. Super thankful to Jim Tannehill, project manager for J Construction, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Kyle,
YouTube
last
movie
call,
star
comments.
in our presence.
Rising star.
Great.
Subscribe. Link is below.
And a TikTok movie star in our presence. There's no proof of that.
Kyle, what you got? No tip of the week?
tip of the week.
Tip of the week, Kyle.
Shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to bleep that.
I'm definitely
Sure.
going to have to.
Yeah.
Tip of the week.
Hey, but did you see Wendy's roasting McDonald's recently about they announced their breakfast?
I didn't.
Yeah, they tweeted at McDonald's and McDonald's didn't tweet back, but all these celebrities and official accounts were roasting McDonald's. They said they had to pull up to the next window in order for a response, and their response machine was broken just like their ice cream machine.
It's
Pretty great. You need to look it up. It's pretty
So
great.
back to Kyle's tip of the week.
Oh
What you
yeah,
got?
sorry.
Agency.
We only
tip
have
of the
30
week.
minutes, so
That's true. It technically they just reset.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Agency tip of the week. What you got for me?
Gotta have something.
What are you talking about?
Whatever.
We just
tip
need a
you want.
tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip of the week. Damn it.
Fuck me, Ryan. I'm so sorry. Blame
Just
these
the tip,
three
though.
motherfuckers.
3. What did I
1,
do?
2, 3.
Like a bird I will sing.
Just you'd have some empathy for my situation if you'd sit over here. You'd understand what I'm going through.
Fuck your ball set, Tannehill.
Wow.
Ryan, that's all. Still love you.
I'm gonna keep waiting here
Yeah,
for my tip of the day.
I thought that was part of it.
Kyle, your tip of the day,
No.
please. Just one tip.
Just a tip.
Just